So today we're going to make a stop motion video using toys and a green screen. The green screen is going to allow you to put any image you want as the background for your toy to move around in front of. The first step is to pick the toy you're going to use for your movie. So you want a toy that can move around a little bit. So for example, this toy doesn't have any moving parts. It's going to be hard to make it really look like it's moving in my video. So I don't really want to use something like that. A toy like this also that won't be able to stand up on its own is going to make it really difficult for you to animate. So I wouldn't really pick a toy like that. What you're really looking for here is a toy that has some moving parts and can stand up on its own. So this Stormtrooper really will do the trick just right. It can move its head and its arms and its legs, and it can stand up. So now I know I can make a movie which is going to allow this Stormtrooper to walk around or look around and move his arms a little bit. It's also important your toy is the right size. Since we're going to be using some green screening, you want to make sure that your toy fits within your green screen. So I just need to quickly check and make sure that my toy isn't taller than the green screen that I'm going to use in my background. Okay, the next step is to write the script. We're not only going to have our character move around, but he's also going to be saying some things. We're going to have some dialogue. And we're going to use this script to kind of organize what's going to take place in our movie. So the first thing I want you to do is get out your script template. Now this template is designed to have a conversation between two people, but we're just going to use one. So we're going to kind of only use character A in this. The first thing you're going to do is write the setting for your movie. So since I'm using a Stormtrooper, I want the setting to be the Death Star. I think that'd be a cool place for the movie to take place. And I'm going to write Stormtrooper for character A. And like I said, we're only going to do one character for this just because it's an example. So if you wanted to do two, you'd write it here under the character B section. You could maybe think of another character that you're going to use, and they would have a conversation between each other. So in interaction 1, you could have the character say something and then do something, the other character say something and then do something, and then keep going in that pattern. This is sort of set up to have 4 interactions, as you can see, where the characters would each say and do 4 things. But for this example, just to keep it simple, I'm going to have one character say and do one thing. So I'm going to start off with what I want my character to do. So this is really the action, the movement that's going to take place in the video. I want my character to walk into a hallway in the Death Star. So I'm just going to write walk into the room, look around, and leave. So that gives me a good idea of what it's going to look like in my movie. And I can make sure that these are things that my character can do. His head looks around, his legs move. This is going to work nicely for my video. And then I think of the dialogue, what I want him to say. So I'm going to have him walk into the room and look around and say, where is the bathroom in this place? So I'm just kind of creating this funny scene where Stormtroopers looking around for the bathroom in the Death Star. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to want to do is find the background image that you're going to use in your video. So I've already picked that I want my setting to be the Death Star. Well, I'm going to use an iPad to go on Google and find a picture of the Death Star to insert into my movie. So now I'm going to find an image that I can overlay onto the green screen. So everything that's going to be green on the background of my movie, all this green stuff, I'm going to be able to just turn into whichever image I find on Google. So let's take a look. I'm going to open up my iPad. So whatever you wrote down on your script for your background, on mine it was Death Star. So I'm going to now try to search that using Google. And you're going to go into Safari. And at the very top screen there, you can see the website name. This one says my website, Harris the Teacher. Just click that and then press backspace, the X that comes up on the keyboard, to erase everything, all the words that were written there. And now you can just search whatever you want. So I want to search Death Star. I'm also going to write inside so I don't get a picture of like the outside of the Death Star. Make sure I only see images and not just like web pages. That's kind of what's coming up now. You can see the words images next to all. I'm going to go from all to images. Click that. And now I've got some nice pictures of inside the Death Star, just like I asked for. So I'm going to pick the one that I want. Really try to picture what you want out of your video and what's going to look nice for your video. I really just want like an empty room that looks like it's clearly on the Death Star. I kind of like the looks of this one. So I'm going to now just take one finger and press it against the image for about 4 seconds, and then this little menu comes up and it says save image or copy. I want to save that image. So press save. And now when I close out, I can press the home button and go back to my home screen. When I go into photos, I can check and see, oh yeah, there it is. It just popped up. It's in my photos, it's saved. So now I've got that saved on my iPad. So the next step is to animate our video. You're going to take your iPad and lean it against something so it can stand up straight. I'm going to use this book stand. I'm just going to lean the iPad against the book stand and make sure that the camera, so if I look on the back, there's that little hole that shows where the camera is. Make sure that that's not covered up by your stand. So when I turn it around, I want to make sure that the stand isn't in the way of the camera, because when we shoot our video, we want to make sure that you can't see a little black part as you film. So once you've got your iPad set up, you can open up the iPad and you're going to go into the stop motion app. When you open that up, you're going to click the purple plus sign. That's going to be to start a new video. And now you can really see through that camera. And I'm going to make sure I don't see anything behind it. And I'm going to place my green screen right in front of the camera and try and line it up so that I can only see the green screen. I'm going to make sure that there's nothing kind of hiding through the sides, and I can kind of see like the bottom of the green screen too, so my character has some floor to stand on. And I'll even like try it out. I'm just going to put my character on there and see if he fits into my screen. I can see his feet and his head, so I know that that's kind of lined up in a good spot for the size of my character. So the next thing I'm going to do is start figuring out where I need this guy to move. So I need to look at my script and look under the what will they do section and see, okay, I need him to walk in, look around, and then leave. So I have to start thinking how I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to start off by just taking a blank picture. So I'm going to focus my camera by tapping the screen, press the red button to take a picture. So it's just of nothing in it. There's nothing in, no toys in the screen. And now I'm going to put the toy in the far corner so it looks like he's just entering the room. So now I've got just like his foot visible. Take a picture. And now I've got 2 pictures loaded in my show. I can flip back to the first one and then his foot pops into the second one. And now my third picture, I'm going to have him just moved a little bit more into the shot. So it's not just his foot showing now, it's kind of his whole body. I take the picture, move him over again just a little bit more. Take the picture. And I'm really trying to balance him to make sure he doesn't fall over, but also trying to make his legs move so it looks like he's walking. So that's kind of tricky to do, but you can have fun trying to make it look pretty realistic. Okay, so let's just jump into fast forward here, and we're going to see that I'm just kind of repeating that same process, moving him a little bit, adjusting his hands and his feet and his head the way I want, taking the picture, and repeat and repeat. And now I can also just sort of check in, so I can kind of just stop and look and see how my movie's going. Instead of just taking pictures, you can rewind back, flick back to the first picture and press play and see how it's working. You really want to make sure that you're not bumping the screen. So you can see I've been so careful that the screen's never been bumped and it's moving smoothly. So you're just going to keep filming till you get everything that you need, but if you ever make a mistake, like you bump your screen or your guy falls over like my guy just did, it's really easy to fix the mistake. You just need to find the picture that kind of went wrong. So you can see here I have one where my guy's standing up, and then there's a whole picture where he's fallen over. So I'm going to find the picture that's the problem, and I'm just going to click it. And when you tap it, a menu will pop up, and you'll have a lot of options of things that you can do with that picture. One of the options is put it in the trash. So there's like a few different things. I pick the trash can, and it'll delete that picture, and now that mistake is no longer there, and I can keep filming. There, and once you've finished filming your character in the way that you've planned, so he's done his walk in, he's looked around and walked off the screen, so that's everything that I planned on him doing. you're then going to want to save your work. So I've just made sure that everything looks good. I watched it over a couple times to make sure there's no mistakes, and then I'm going to press this back button here, this little arrow pressing back. I then will press the share button. So there's a square with an arrow on the top of it. That means share. I press that and press export movie, the top option. And now it's saving. I want to save it right on the camera roll. So there's lots of options where you can save it. I want to save it to the iPad, so I press this first one here, again with the square with the arrow on it. And now it's saving to my camera roll. I can see the progress bar going. Okay, I'm going to go to press the home button. And now when I open up Photos, it will be right there. The newest video should be the one I just saved. Okay, our next step is to get our movie off of the iPad and onto our computer. So to do this, you're going to have to plug your iPad into the computer. So you're going to take a USB cord and you're going to plug it into the bottom of the iPad. So there's a little slot right under the home button. Plug that in. And you also want to be plugged into the computer, the USB cord. On the side, you're going to see that there's like a little hole right by the power cord. That's going to fit in just right. So now it's plugged in. You might get a message that says, trust this computer. Say trust. And now we should be able to get the files off of this onto the computer so we can edit them. Continue. Don't need iTunes, so I'm going to close that out. Now, the app that we're going to be using today is the Photo app. So when I take my cursor and I go over this little colorful circle over here, it's going to say Photos. I'm going to open that one up. Now over on the side here, I can see the words E400820. Well, that's just the name of my iPad, and you can see there's a little picture of an iPad here. And that's what I want, because I want to get the pictures off of the iPad onto the computer. So when I open this up, I see all the images that have been saved on this iPad. So I'm going to scroll through them and find the ones I want. And the first one I see is the picture of the Death Star. So I'm going to click that one, and you can see that it's now highlighted in blue with a blue check mark. So that means that it's been selected, and I can scroll down. And now I see this green video down here at the bottom. That's my green screened Stormtrooper video. So I've clicked both of those. I've got two videos, or a video and a picture selected. And I'm going to press Import to Selected at the top here. And now I see them both now saved to the computer. Now we're going to want to use these on the desktop, just to make it a little easier for us to find. So you're going to click on your picture and then drag it. So I'm holding my finger in on the mouse and now I'm dragging it over and just dropping it into the desktop. So if you don't have room, if you have like a full screen, you can't really see your desktop, just click and drag that window over out of the way and then drag over your video. So now I've got both of those videos saved on my desktop. I can close this. When I hover over here, I see a little red X. I can close out of the photos. We don't need that anymore. But now we're going to open up iMovie. So I'm going to click this little purple star at the bottom. It's going to bounce up and down a little bit, then open up. Okay, so this was open for me playing with this earlier, but when you open up iMovie, you'll probably see somebody else's project sitting there. You just ignore that, and you're going to press New at the top here. So there's a new video that we want to make. New movie. And now I'm going to click on the No Theme option for my movie. And down at the bottom, press Create, this little blue button that says Create. Now I can name my movie anything I want. I want you just to write your name there so we can keep track of whose is whose. I'm going to write Mr. Harris here. Yeah. Now I've already got these same files already in my cache here in the iMovie, because I've already kind of been playing with this, and you might see a bunch of different movies here. You won't automatically see your movies in here the way that mine are. You'll have to drag them in. So you'll have to click your movie that's saved on your desktop and drag it in. So that's the new one I just made. This is like an older one I made a different time. It just looks very similar. So there's that newest one I just made, and I'm going to also put in my Death Star picture, even though I've also already got one in there. I'm going to first just put in my background. A little easier to put the background in first. So you're going to click it. You see when I click them or double click them, they turn yellow. So if you click it once, it'll be highlighted in yellow. And once I get it all in yellow, I can now click and drag. So I'm kind of like holding in the mouse pad and dragging around my image. I'm going to drag it down here to the movie editor window and then drop it. So now it's placed in my movie. This is where we're going to be making our movie, down here. And automatically when I play it, it kind of does like this weird zoom in thing. You can kind of see the movie over here. And that's called the Ken Burns effect. We're not going to be using that. So I want you to click your movie so it's highlighted in yellow again. And then go up here to this kind of weird square that you can see. It's called the crop tool. Right now we've got it on Ken Burns. Let's move over one so it's on just crop there. So now when I press it, it's not going to zoom in. It's just that shape. And I get the whole picture just the way I want it. Now I'm going to drag in my green video on top of that Death Star background image. So I drag this one in. And I'm going to plop it right on top of it. So there's two layers. And when I look over here, I can see that my background image is a lot shorter than my green screen image. So I'm going to click on that Death Star picture so it's highlighted in yellow, and I'm going to start dragging it over. So click and hold and then drag over. Keep dragging it until it's all the way to the end and of the exact same length. Okay? So once they're the same length, we now want that green stuff to disappear and turn into our Death Star background. So I'm going to click on my green video, and up here in this top corner you can kind of see like two squares, one solid and one has like dotted lines around it. We're going to click that guy. In that first menu bar, this first pop down menu that we get, we're going to click, and right now it's on cutaway. Go down to the very next one that says green/blue screen. And now that I've clicked that, the green has disappeared and it's letting the Death Star image go through. So when I press play, let's go. So this little bar here is showing me where I am in the video. You can see that white bar. I'm going to click that all the way back to the beginning and then press the play button. And there he is, walking around the Death Star. The next thing we need to do is add our sound effects. So I have in my script that he's going to have to walk in, look around frustrated, and then say, "Where is the bathroom in this place?" So I'm going to watch my video again and think really where I want that to happen, where I want that line to take place. He's looking around. I'm going to press pause. Yeah, right here is probably, right there we had his hands up. That's probably where I wanted to say that. So I'm going to click right around where I want it to happen. So that little like white bar is now staying there. So it's kind of telling the computer like that's where I want to work. That's where I'm going to want something to happen. And I'm going to click this little record button right here. When I press the red button, it'll record my voice. So it's going to be able to like record whatever I say into it. So I'm going to click this red record button. It says start recording when I hover over it. 3, 2, 1. Where is the bathroom in this place? So now I get this like cool little audio clip down here. And when you look at those little bumps down at the bottom, that's my voice. That's the sound clip. And all this stuff that doesn't have any voice, that's just sort of the end. You don't really need that. In fact, I'll just like drag it so you don't even have that part with no sound anymore. There. Let's try that now. So now I've kind of gone back to before the audio will kick in, and I'll press, oh, I can get off of this recording thing, turn that off. So now I'm back into the play mode.
Where is the bathroom in this place?
Okay, I think I want that to be a little further back. There. Let's try that again.
Where is the bathroom in this place?
Perfect. There, so now I've got my whole movie. It's got the action that I designed, and it's got the speaking part that I wanted it to have.
Where is the bathroom in this place?
So now once it's done, I'm going to save this video. I'm going to export it. So I think we just need to export it to the computer. We'll save it on the desktop. So we'll go to share at this very top portion here. See that same little share icon that we always see? I'm going to click share, file, next, and I'll save it as Mr. Harris. That's what I've named my movie when I first started. I'm going to make sure that where it's being saved, this is the location that it's going to be, which file. I'm going to put it to desktop. So you can see the word desktop. That's where I want it saved. Press save. And this little like circle here will show me that it's saving, and it'll kind of tick along like a clock as it's saving. And if you drag this out of the way, as it keeps going, there you can start to see it now. It's starting to make progress. We'll see that movie's going to pop up. Oh, here it is over here. It's not done yet, but it will save over there. And now that that's saving, you can even clean up the desktop. And I think like the best way for us to organize this is for everybody to leave their project at the very, oh, maybe that's what it'll be. It'll be this one. Yeah, it's all done. So there's my movie right there. And I'm going to leave that at the top. But I don't need these ones anymore. So now that I'm done filming the little movies, the little films and pictures that I exported on the desktop, we don't need anymore. So we're going to drag those all the way down to this trash can over here. So you can do it one at a time and put them in. Or if you highlight above them, you can like select 2 at a time or 3 at a time, depending on how many you have. And once they're highlighted in blue like that, I'll just drop them in. Just drop them into the trash can and they're gone. But I want you to keep your finished project up at the top, and we'll line up all our finished projects on the top one by one.